This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Murphy.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I am Mike Murphy, host of the Good Neighbor Podcast. We are a podcast designed to help the residents of Northern Kentucky know local business owners and influencers as people and not just as a logo on the business card or the side of a truck. And, the more you know about the local business owners, the more you tend to want to do business with them. So that's why we're here today. So the business owner that's with me today is a good friend, Jaimie Bubb. She's also a neighbor.
Yes.
She walked herself down here to my basement studio.
Sure did.
So we get to actually be cozied up to the mic together, as opposed to doing sort of like a Zoom based podcast.
I like this better.
Yeah, it is so much better. Yeah. And so welcome to the show, Jaimie.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. By the way, I want Mike's basement. It's got all the things, entertainment.
Yeah.
Other than Michigan, I am totally jealous of this basement. So kudos to you and your wife.
I assume you guys are Buckeye fans?
We sure are.
Okay.
We sure are.
Yeah. So given the fact that Michigan and Ohio State have won the last two national championships, that means we are due for the ultimate showdown next season.
And we will win, Mike. So sorry in advance.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. But we don't want to start fighting before we even begin the podcast.
Right. We'll take that down. We'll take that down.
So let's put a pin in that. Let's just put a note.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Circle back later. Go blue.
Go Buckeyes.
So one of the things that we're here to talk about today is your business, Urge to Purge. And you know a heck of a lot more about it than I do.
Yes.
So we're going to let you talk about Urge to Purge. What is Urge to Purge?
Fantastic. And I've got my Urge to Purge shirt on right here.
Okay.
So Urge to Purge, I started over the summer. And for Urge to Purge, basically kind of the backstory and why I started it is, first of all, I'm a nurse by background. And over the summer, my brother, and he's open to me sharing this, but my brother went through a bit of a mental health crisis. Okay. And so they had adopted a baby. They had a lot going on. And so basically with him, things stopped for him. He had to stop work. And so he was going through a really rough time. And so the only thing I kind of knew how to do is go over there. The sister and the nurse and me is like, okay, how can I help? And so we all kind of jumped to help him, and being there with him and his family, I looked around, I thought, okay, what are the things that I can tackle for him and for his wife and for this baby that can take some anxiety off of him? So let's go through the pantry. Let's go through the laundry room. Let's kind of make everything nice and decluttered and kind of give them a fresh start with everything that they had going on. Take that anxiety off of them. So that's kind of where the story started and why I started Urge to Purge. Started with my brother, and then obviously kind of grew it from there. So some family friends, family, continued to kind of ask me to come over, help them with things. And it just grew from there. There was such a need for it, but also for me, it's very cathartic. I think it's the nurse in me that was like, this feels kind of like bedside care. I'm able to take care of people and leave kind of feeling better about things, and they're feeling better about things. And so I think my big focus for Urge to Purge is mental health and just really helping people kind of reduce that burden, reduce that anxiety. And, if there's little things I can do around the house for them that makes them feel good and makes them want to use their space to the fullest, that's what makes me happy. So really for Urge to Purge, what I do is I go into clients' homes, talk about what their goals are, what are the spaces that they, would like to be decluttered. And some places I'm going in and they just want a master closet done. Some places I'm going in, like I have a current client right now, her entire condo is cluttered and she just didn't know where to start. So kind of head to toe, it just depends on what the client needs. But I go in, I think what sets me aside a little bit is I go in, focus on purge first, and that's Urge to Purge, because I don't want to focus on organizing. Organizing is kind of a nice to have, and I do organizing, but the purging and the decluttering really has to come first. And then organization is kind of the cherry on top. So that's what I do. And that's why I do it. And so it's really just grown and kind of everything that is coming to me, including thanks to you, the podcast and different things that are coming my way. I just take each thing as it comes because it feels natural. It feels like the next thing I should be doing with the business. So it's been really exciting.
Okay. So I can kind of see how people could reach a point where things kind of get on top of them and they don't know where to begin.
Yes.
I'll be honest. When it comes to business, I'm that way. I have an ever-growing to-do list. I work my way through what I can.
Yep.
And before you know it, I've got a week's worth of stuff staring at me, and it's got to be done in the next 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And in those moments, I'm not sure where to begin.
Right. Right.
We are all wired differently as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have learned it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
But some of us are too stubborn to do it. So logically we know it, but we don't always take the time to say, all right, I can't do this on my own.
Right.
I need help.
Right.
So you are a natural born helper.
Yes.
And you're a safe place for those of us to turn.
Right.
To
safe place to land.
Safe place to land.
Yes.
So that people can get unstuck.
Yes.
And move forward.
That's probably one of the biggest things I hear is it, regardless of the clients that I'm helping, that really is the main thing that they say. I don't know where to start. Please come in, help me get motivated. Mm-hmm. Some of my clients, including some of our neighbors, they're busy. They have spaces that are cluttered that in their mind and like your to-do list, it's something that's just in the back of their mind that's bothering them. So even though they're going through their normal day, mm-hmm. kicking butt in their business, they still in the back of their mind realize there's that room or there's that closet or there's that space. And for those people, that really weighs them down. And I've noticed for certain people, especially if it gets to be to the point of this client that I have, it's her entire condo. She doesn't want to go outside of her condo because she feels stuck in the clutter. She feels stuck and doesn't feel like she should go outside because she feels like she should be inside working on her home. Okay. And so just me being that third party person to go in, that's really been beneficial for her to say, even if I'm just sitting next to her, let's sit next to each other. Let's go through this bin together, move on to the next one. And so that's really been helpful for her. But again, each client is different. But I have heard from my clients, thank you for having no judgment, when you're coming into my home, because I've been embarrassed about the basement. I've been embarrassed about the playroom. And it's like, that's fine. There's no judgment from my end, not just the nurse and me, but I've already seen a lot and clutter doesn't scare me. Like it doesn't matter how much clutter you have, there's no judgment. So that's why I have the job that I have, is because I want to be able to come in and help the clutter. To be honest, it sounds weird. The more clutter you have, the more excited I get because I realize there's opportunity there and there's things that we can do to tackle it. So,
okay. Well, you started with your brother and
yes.
You forgive me if you've already mentioned this, but how long ago was that? How long have you sort of been in this mode? When was that?
It's been about June. June is kind of the time frame where that kind of all hit. And just so prior to starting this business, I'm a nurse, but also I was in health IT for about 12, 13 years. And so that job also, as I was kind of starting this business, I realized, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't think I should be continuing this. This is really want to put my focus. And so with my husband, Terry, and I, we were like, okay, this is what you want to do. This is what makes you feel good. And this is what you think is going to be your next chapter. And that's where I am today. So I'm super excited. And talk about mental health. I think when I put away the old job, I felt this burden come off because now I'm in control of the business. I'm in control of what happens next. And so that's been a huge relief for me too. And that was the clutter in my life that I was able to get off. And now I feel like I'm doing the right thing. This is what I'm meant to be doing. So I'm excited about that.
So I'm kind of wired a little bit like you in that I enjoy helping people.
Yes, you do.
And when you're helping others, you are also helping yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's therapeutic for the helper
as
much as it is the person who's raising their hand and saying, I need help.
Right. And I like that about you because what I've noticed about certain people, you included, is you're not holding anything close to your chest. If something's worked for you or you've known it's worked for somebody else that you've helped, you're just like an open book. Use this, try this. Have you thought about this? And thank you for that. That's been great. And so the people that I've run into, that are in their own business, they've started their own small business. Thank you for those that I've talked to, including Mike. Just any little tidbit that, I've been given, I've just taken that and just tried to figure out if that's going to work for me. So
the local entrepreneurial community is very giving and we all want to help each other. And if you help somebody, then it boomerangs back and you get so much more out of it than what you give. So
exactly. Yeah. I feel like if you put out to the universe, not only that you want to grow your business and do better, but if you're looking at somebody else, not just to say, how can you help me with my business? But it's like, let's get to know each other first. And then let's figure out how I can help grow your business and vice versa. I feel like I want to start with the relationship first, like you and I have, and then also kind of move on from there and just figure out how we can collaborate and how we can grow.
Okay. And sometimes that involves a podcast.
It does. And this is my first time, Mike. So
Mhm.
thank you for that. I'm excited.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome. And I'm still learning with every podcast. I'm learning. So
How many have you done, by the way?
55-ish, I think, so far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
I've got colleagues who have done 400 or 500,
Yes.
and one who's approaching 1,000 right now.
Wow.
So I have a long way to go.
Wow. But you've already helped 55 people. So
Mhm.
that's huge.
Yeah, storytelling and education is a huge part of what I do.
Yes.
So that's why we're cozied up to the mic today.
That's right. That's right. Storytelling and education. I like that. I'm going to maybe put that under my logo here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I love your logo. So.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the fact that when you are a business owner, your family, especially your spouse, is kind of very heavily involved,
Yeah.
whether they want to be or not.
Yes.
So you mentioned Terry's name. What does Terry do?
So my husband, Terry, first of all, we'll be married 20 years this year, which is crazy.
Congratulations.
I'm old, but thank you. He is amazing. He actually works for Valvoline, which is located in Lexington.
Mhm.
Thankfully, post-pandemic, he's working remotely primarily. But he has been amazing. He's got marketing and he's currently in marketing, and that's kind of his background. His background's in business. And so this really fit really well. And so he's been able to kind of brag about me in his space and on LinkedIn and kind of do his thing there, but also, help me launch the website and help me think about how we can market, how we can advertise. And so it's been fun. I mean, we've had a couple, tips here and there because he knows the way that I want to run things, but also he's like, well, what about this? Or have you thought about this? And so the marriage of this whole business is kind of, we're working some of the kinks out for sure.
And you're like, hey, bucko.
I know. Yeah.
Mine.
Like, leave me alone. Yeah, exactly. Well, the way he thinks is like an Excel sheet, and I don't think like an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. I think that's a good balance of he's the detail oriented one. And once everything, the process and the things laid out, and I'm like, I just want to go in and help them. And he's like, we got to do these things first too. So it's been he's been awesome and very supportive. And so he doesn't have a choice anyways, because he's married to me. So I think that was in the vows somewhere that he's got to support me through thick and thin. So
my wife is a financial analyst and she thinks spreadsheets and a keyboard. If it doesn't have a 10-key calculator keypad, she's lost.
God love her.
So yeah, it takes sometimes the yin and the yang to be able to work through these things as a couple. Totally,
100%. Yeah, I think he's a little bit more detail oriented, and I'm more the people pleaser. Want to get in there and do it myself. And so we're kind of just we're learning our way through, which has been great.
So I've seen your kids running around the neighborhood.
Yes, they do that.
Great kids, all of them. Very cute, very well behaved.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
That's on you guys.
In public, they do that very well. Yes.
Right. I'm sure that half hour before bedtime, it's not always that way.
Yeah. I don't know how their energy gets more as the night goes on, but that's what happens. But yes, so I have 3 kids. They're amazing. So Grayson is my oldest. He is at Gray Middle School. This is his first year in middle school. He's playing 6th grade basketball. That has been awesome. He actually just finished that last night, and super proud of him. He's a big kid like me. So he's the center, and he's been doing really good, pulling down some rebounds. My middle son, Sawyer, he's our gamer. We're trying to work on that, but actually he's really good at it. So he may have a YouTuber possibility in his futures. But he's great. He also plays basketball and flag football. And he's just got the biggest heart. He hugs people at the bus stop that he doesn't even really know, but that's his heart. Right. And then Charlotte is my youngest, my daughter, and she's my only girl. So she's 9. She'll be 10 here in April. No, sorry. Back that up, Mike. She's 8. She'll be 9 in April. Pull it together. When there's 3, you just lose track. But she's amazing. She doesn't have the diva energy. She's very, I think, because I say she's being raised by wolves because of the 2 boys. So she has this very chill energy of she can still, get the makeup on, but then she's going to be playing flag football for the first time. So she can kind of do a little bit of both, which I love.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So when you've got kids who are doing sports, that's run, do.
Yes.
You've got calendar and you're like, how can we be 2 places at once?
Right.
So
the human Uber. Yeah.
Yeah. So to live that lifestyle that you're living and have a business is kind of tough. But how has it worked out for you just in terms of what the expectation was versus the reality of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as with anybody who's probably starting a small business, you got to keep your head down. You got to figure out, you got to grind, you got to figure out what you're doing and keep growing and expanding as you're able to. And obviously with 3 kids, I think I'm lucky because my kids are kind of I feel like I'm out of survival mode because, they are 8, 10, and almost 12, years old. So they can hold down the fort and I'm comfortable with them being even by themselves. So my husband and I can kind of figure out, I'm working even some weekends because that just works better for some of my clients. And so we just, we figure it out. He goes here, I go there. And it's worked out really well so far. Their sports are not the ones that are, we're not doing select sports yet. We're not traveling too much. So it's been pretty manageable. And I think the kiddos, they're excited about it. Even my daughter has started to do some purging herself. She helped my mom declutter and organize her playroom. So it's being passed on to the kiddos as well. So they're excited about the business. They see what I'm doing and they support it. And obviously so does Terry. So it's working itself out.
It's a good point. Your kids are watching. So you're a role model. I mean, you're a role model to your kids anyways, but for them to see what you're going through and what that looks like and get them dreaming.
Right.
Yeah. Who knows what you're doing for the future them,
right.
In this moment that you're building your business.
Right. And I think one thing with my business that sets me apart is that when I go into the client's home, I'm actually taking items from them. So I don't want them to have the burden of keeping those things around. So the reason I bring that up is because currently I bring a lot of things that I end up taking to either St. Vincent de Paul. I like to help get my clients a little bit of money back. So I'll take things to Once Upon a Child, Plato's Closet, any of the consignment shops that I have locally to really get them some money back. But my kids see all that. So it's currently the garage is a little bit of the storage for that. But I usually try to turn that around. But they're seeing that. They see that, oh, wow, this person got rid of 8 bags of clothes or, there's a lot of great things that they're donating. And so in their mind, they're understanding that people are giving away things that are going to a better home, somebody who's going to love those items, but we're probably going to need a storage unit. I feel like at some point it's going to have to happen. But that's one thing that I really enjoy is that I can take that burden from them, but then be able to be like, hey, I got you $70 from, Once Upon a Child is great, by the way. They take a lot of items and give back a lot. So that part has been fun for me to be able to say, yes, I'm taking from you, but hey, by the way, let's figure out if we can get you a little bit of money back. So.
Okay, we'll just say this podcast is sponsored by Once Upon a Child.
Once Upon a Child. Go there. They're great. They really are fantastic there. They really, really are.
So when people invite you into their space, I think there's a little bit of hoarder in all of us, even if we're not hoarders by definition, whatever that might be.
Sure.
From my perspective, where I'm a hoarder is anything that my kids made in elementary school, they're in totes.
Yes.
I never look at them,
right?
But I know they're there.
Yes.
I don't want to get rid of them.
Right.
And I'll be damned if someone's going to make me throw them away or whatever. So can you just at least assure people that their private protected stuff is going to be okay?
The private protected stuff is going to be okay. I understand. And I understand there's things that you want to hold on to. There's those physical items. The thing that I would say is to keep and kind of keep in your mind is, one, it's okay to keep the memorabilia. And that's always the thing I do last with clients. So if we go through, I have kind of a specific way that I go through items with them. Memorabilia is going to be last. But I want them to hold on to those things with an understanding of when you open that box, do all of those things kind of give you that emotion of the picture or the memory? Does that bring something good to you and a reminder or a memory to you? If it doesn't, it's probably a good time to part with it. And if you're looking at that, for example, for you and your kids, do you think your kids would want to hang on to that down the line? Right. Yeah, I know, Mike, they probably won't. So, but I think it's thinking of that, but also we're in the digital world. So there are apps, there are apps that can actually, you can take pictures from an app and be able to say, okay, that was a really cool trophy from back in the day with my son or my daughter, but I want to make sure I can capture that digitally. You can actually keep a bunch of stuff in the app and then down the line, maybe get a book. Great, present over the holidays or something like that. But that way you're taking a tote of physical items and maybe thinning it out to just the things. If you want few things physical, but a lot of them you could think about even making that digital. So there's some options out there.
Good suggestion. So, I mean, heck, that alone is a great tip for
I'm going to send you the link after this, Mike. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'll drop it in the, at the bottom of the video for this podcast.
Yes.
Okay. I'll make sure people know, because I've got to believe that that's a very popular way for people to just kind of hang on to those things without actually having to keep them in tubs in your basement.
Yes.
Because I asked myself, it's like, okay, why am I hanging on to this stuff? Do I expect that, like, at my funeral, someone's going to be taking these pictures and shoving them into my casket before they close the lid?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't take it with me.
Can't take it with me. Yeah.
And I'm not looking at them every day, but they're just there. And why are they there? I don't know.
Right.
It's a mental, emotional thing. There's a big emotional connection to that stuff.
You are not alone. I have a lot of clients that do that. And also the clients themselves. So if it was me and you or my dad, for example, it's hard for them to say, oh my gosh, my dad gave this to me, or my dad wanted me to hold on to this. So it's kind of having those conversations of even the kids talking to their parents about, thank you so much for giving this to me. Is it okay if I part with this? Or is it okay if I take a picture of it because I can't hold on to the physical item? So it's kind of that it's a tricky conversation sometimes, but I think it's a good conversation to be had, because to your point, I don't want all these things in my basement necessarily. I still want the memories, but I don't need all the physical items and all these totes that are building up. So, and I will say, my mother-in-law, love her. She's an angel, but she's kept my husband's teeth and hair from haircuts. And sometimes that's where you have to draw the line. Like, again, is he going to want his teeth and hair down the line? He better not. It's not going to come in my house.
I have teeth and hair in the basement, in envelopes, in Ziploc baggies.
Mike, we're going to have to talk after this. No judgment. I understand. Those are things that, you hung onto when the kids were growing up, but I don't think they're going to want that when, you hand them that tote. They probably don't. They probably don't. No.
So, this podcast is going to be cathartic.
It's about you now, Mike. It's about you. It's about you.
All right. So, you're educating me. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. So, one thing that keeps your energy up, because you've got active family, you're running the business.
Yes.
Is you've got a local community here in Union, your Burn Boot Camp buddies.
Oh my gosh. Yes. They are basically my home away from home.
Okay.
This is not a paid ad, but I swear, if you have not tried Burn Boot Camp in Union, get there. It is right across from Ryle. I'm there 6 days a week because they're not open on Sundays. They are fantastic. They are just welcoming, literally high five here. That's what they do in the boot camp. It's very positive, very uplifting. The workouts are fantastic and I love them. They're amazing. Kristen, Krista, Jessica, you're awesome.
And I see them and I see you and I see a lot of my friends on social media.
Yes.
They take a lot of video and they're like, basically, I don't know if they're trying to guilt us into getting there, but it's kind of working in that regard. And then it's like, they're getting up at 5 a.m. or whatever.
I know.
And if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
But,
and it does. I'm not saying you're older than me, but you're just slightly older than me by maybe a couple years. There are people there there's women in there that are 65, 70 years old and they're killing it. So just to say that it's for everybody, and I love it. They're just so welcoming, and I feel better after I leave, not just because of the physical part, but because they're just so positive. It's awesome. So I love it. I'm addicted. That's one thing I'm addicted to. So I will put that out there.
Yeah, I knew that that was a big part of your life these days anyways. And I wanted to make sure you got to shout them out.
Yes.
Yeah, they're part of the community.
Camp. Yes, we love
storytelling and education. So
I'm telling you, that's where it is. That's where it's at. And yes, you're right. That's what keeps me going, as well as caffeine and things like that. But that's what gets us through the day.
So then the last personal bit about you is, when you guys go on vacation, where do you guys like to go?
Well, one of our favorite traditions we do over Thanksgiving is we always go to Pigeon Forge. It's just kind of the our time to decompress as a family, because Christmas, as you know, can get crazy. So over Thanksgiving, it's just our family, just the 5 of us. We go to Pigeon Forge. We usually get we love Big Bear, which is a resort in Pigeon Forge. Stay in a condo. The kids can swim, indoor swimming. And then we always go to Dollywood. We love Dollywood. So that's just kind of our holiday routine. Yeah. Other than that, we love to just do little weekends. We're talking about doing one coming up in March. Just take the kids out. We love Louisville, just places that are fairly close that we can go and kind of check some things out. We're not big vacation people, but we like ththose little short trips that we can. We do Disney. My husband's obsessed with Disney, just because it's the engineer in him that wants to know how it was all created. Right. But we're typically weekend people, and we love those kind of traditions of, especially over Thanksgiving.
Do the kids handle car rides well?
They do. They didn't used to. There were some sticky situations with when you're going through the mountains. TMI, but they're better now. They're not car sick. So we're in those phases where they can make it through long drives too.
You can ask my wife when we do car trips. She drives, and probably not too long after we're out of the subdivision.
Mhm.
I'm already sleeping.
Oh my gosh. I'm so jealous. I can't sleep in any moving vehicle, let alone a car.
Yeah, sleep in
That's
the car.
impressive.
My flights, I sleep. When I'm traveling, my biggest fear is that I'm just laying back on the airplane, snoring so loud.
Oh my God, you're one of those?
Yeah. But,
jeez, Mike.
I have woke myself up mid-snore and wondered, like, was that snore number 1 that woke me up, or was that snore number 200?
Oh my gosh.
And the entire airplane's mad at me. I don't know. But,
right.
Yeah,
That's what earplugs are for. Everybody around you, I'm sure they have earplugs in for sure.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of that. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That's a skill. That's a life skill.
My poor wife, she just has to just drive alone because I'm over there sleeping.
Oh, you're over there snoring. My
Yeah.
gosh. I hope she's got some good podcasts to listen to.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if somebody wants to reach out to you to learn more about Urge to Purge,
Yeah.
and to just kind of have a conversation with you to talk
Yes.
about where they are and how you might be able to help them, how do they reach you?
The best way is to probably go through the website, because that way you're able to see, specific promotions that we have.
Mhm.
You can see before and after pictures. So our website is urge-to-purge.com, because
Okay.
Urge to Purge was already taken.
Yep.
And then on Facebook and on Instagram, you can find us at Urge to Purge with Jaimie. So yeah, I would love to hear from anybody if you've got needs, big or small. The other thing I'm trying to kind of reach into is we have a lot of people that move.
Mm.
So if you're thinking of moving or downsizing and you want somebody to come in, it's the best time to really purge and think about getting rid of some of those items, especially if you're moving from a home to a condo, for example. It's a perfect time. So if you have some of those things, you just have questions about, what I do or how I can help, feel free to reach out. I'd love to see if I can help you.
Well, now that you bring that up, I do have a friend who's moving from a home in Union to a townhouse in Union, downsizing considerably.
Yes.
And so, that's one of those moments that we should be trained to say to ourselves, Jaimie can help.
Jaimie can help.
Jaimie can
I
help.
might have you go through those teeth and hair memorabilia, but we'll do it together. So yeah, no judgment, no judgment.
All right. Well, thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you.
I would say, unless there's anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to add,
The only other thing I would say that has been super exciting for us, we just did over this past Christmas. So actually kind of the week we got back from our Thanksgiving routine, or our new tradition. Sorry. Thanksgiving tradition. Once we got back from that, the week after, we did our Grinch event. So Grinch and Give is our holiday event that's going to be annual here on out, because it was just so much fun. So the concept of Grinch and Give we did within the neighborhood, but we're going to branch out as we move forward, is for the neighbors and their kids to be able to go through their house, collect some of the toys that were not being used, like softly used toys, gently used toys. And they were able to have the kids kind of put those out on their porch, put them in bags. We got so many things. So the goal was for us to go around. We had about 60 houses this year. We plan to have a lot more this next upcoming holiday, but we were able to go around dressed up as the Grinch, and my husband was Max the dog. And we were able to go up to their porches, collect their items, take it back with us again to my garage, and to be able to collect all those things. The neighbors were so giving. I mean, there was probably 7 Barbie houses to be able to donate to kids that would probably never be able to have that. And so we love that event. We're able to go out and collect things. And so the kids get involved, not just my kids, the kids, and, kind of getting their items out, and then being able to give back to the community. So we're able to give back to Erpenbeck this year in terms of a local school that was in need. But next year we plan to give back to Steeplechase and some other local schools, as well as St. Vincent de Paul, if there's items that we have that are just extra. And we plan to have a lot of extra items this year, because we're actually going to partner with Big Blue Moving to be able to use their trucks, because this last time it was our Carnival and a couple other cars. So just really looking forward to branching out and having that event again.
Shout out to Big Blue.
Yes.
I'm friends of Big Blue, and they're friends of mine. And Big Blue does a lot of good in the community.
Yes.
So
shout out to Evan Thompson. She's been amazing. I'm looking forward to our collaboration.
I'll be seeing her in the morning.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So I guess, thank you for bringing that up, because if we had ended this podcast and hadn't talked about the Grinch and Give, I would have kicked myself. So
I should have brought the Grinch costume, because then you could have worn the hat or the mask this entire podcast. That would have been really cool.
All right. So
next time.
What you're saying is there's going to be podcast part 2.
Yes.
Right.
Podcast before the Grinch and Give. And Mike has already agreed to wear the Grinch mask. So it's on.
I'll help in some way, shape, or form.
Yes,
And if it involves, wearing a costume,
yes, you're
so
in.
So be it. I'm
Good.
in. Yep.
Take a note. It's beneficial.
Mhm.
Sign on the
Okay.
dotted line.
Well, let's do a little toast to this
Yes,
first
with our-
podcast
With our Celsius.
brought to you by Celsius.
Yes.
Yeah.
Costco.
Yep.
Get them from Costco. They're amazing.
Cool.
Yes.
So, with that being said, this brings this episode to a close.
Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome, Jaimie. I'm glad we got to sit down and catch up a little bit.
Me too.
I wish you all the best with Urge to Purge
Thank you.
and with your Grinch and Give and all the things.
Yes.
Yeah, I've enjoyed being your friend from afar.
Me too.
One block down.
Just one block down.
Sometimes it's just a little wave or a little honk as I'm driving past.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
yeah, you're welcome to my basement anytime.
Yes. Other than when you're watching Michigan, I will not be here. Will not be here. No, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
so-
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So with that being said, everybody, till next time, this is the Good Neighbor Podcast. So be good to your neighbor. And I'll see you at the next podcast, whenever that might be. Looking forward to promoting more business here in Northern Kentucky. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Union. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpunion.com. That's gnpunion.com, or call us at 859-651-8330.